Will somebody do something? Every week he gets worse and nobody does anything.
So we need to question why people who critique the U.S. government and the U.S. government's policies are considered conspiracy theorists, because the intentions of the U.S. government are no longer hidden in plain sight, they're just in plain sight. And you may have heard of Patrick Clawson at this point.
I'm Patrick Clawson, the Deputy Director of the Washington Institute for Near East Policy.
And you will respect my authority!
My advice to President Obama would be to study how rug merchants work. If you walk into a rug store and clearly fall in love with a rug and say that you must have that rug, they're going to jack the price up sky high. And similarly, if in the U.S. approach towards Iran, it looks like the United States is so eager for a deal, we'd pay any price for it, Iran's going to charge us a very high price. Clearly fall in love with a rug.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu laid out the argument for why the problem is a very urgent one that needs resolution quite quickly.
So how much enriched uranium do you need for a bomb? And how close is Iran to getting it? Well, let me show you. Brought a diagram for you. Here's a diagram. This is a bomb. This is a fuse.
And we have seen a pattern of rash actions by the Iranian government that's very disturbing. Obama has shown that he is willing to use military force. Indeed, if you listen to him giving his Nobel Peace Prize speech, you can see a man who's very comfortable with the idea that he may have to send soldiers to their death. Very clearly
is so eager for a deal.
And indeed, he has been a wartime president. He has also shown that he's prepared to use force against Iran.
So, be relaxed.
We are in the game of using covert means against the Iranians. We could get nastier at that.
We know that the United States has been involved in sending drones into Iran, which is not a friendly act. So President Obama has shown that he is willing to take forceful actions against Iran to defend U.S. interests. Indeed, military force, if it has to be applied, will be applied towards that end. And Iran could, once again, miscalculate and inadvertently cross American red line.
I mentioned that explosion on August 17th. We could step up the pressure. I mean, look, people, Iranian submarines periodically go down. Someday one of them might not come up. Who would know why?
For instance, if Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy, which often does rash things, were to attack a U.S. ship, that could cross a U.S. red line and we would be in a conflict. Certainly, that is historically a pattern of how the United States has gotten into conflict.
The traditional way of America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. Some people might think that Mr. Roosevelt wanted to get us into World War II, as David mentioned. You may recall we had to wait for Pearl Harbor. Some people might think Mr. Wilson wanted to get us into World War I. You may recall he had to wait for the Lusitania episode. Some people might think that Mr. Johnson wanted to send troops to Vietnam. You may recall we had to wait for the Gulf of Tonkin episode. We didn't go to war with Spain until the until the Maine exploded. And may I point out that Mr. Lincoln did not feel he could call out the Federal Army until Fort Sumter was attacked, which is why he ordered the commander at Fort Sumter to do exactly that thing which the South Carolinians had said would cause an attack. So if, in fact, the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. I frankly think that crisis initiation is really tough.
Set up a situation in which you would be comfortable. Clearly fall in love with a rug.
And
there's no
rash.
So be relaxed. So eager.
And
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. You're a bona fide Uncle Fucker. You're an Uncle Fucker, I must say.
You fucked your uncle yesterday.
Uncle Baka, that's U-N-C-L-E. Fuck you, Uncle Baka.
Suck my balls.